thing. Look at this complicated system at the top of this. This is wild. Anywho, I have gone live. Oh, have I lost you immediately? That's not good. Wait a minute. Wait a
I've got
minute.
to-
Oh, meeting ground controlled meeting guest. If you'd stay online, that would be best. Check your ISP and may God's love be with you. This is meeting guest ground control. I'd love to drink the beer. But it's frothing in a most peculiar way. And this
You haven't gone
beer
live yet, have you?
tastes rather different today. Sorry, I begun with this is ground control to meeting guest, and I've been singing ever since you left.
Good. I've taken my Wi-Fi away, so we're back to that nonsense again that we were like for 9 months. Yeah.
Satellites to meeting guest.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm ready now. So
Right,
there'll be no interruptions.
Oh yeah, not even a big long song for no reason whatsoever. Hey! I'll break into it. It'll happen again. I am Ross. Joining me is my co-host Ian, and despite the fact that we're immediately going against our New Year's resolutions to not drink as much beer, we are attempting to drink Nova Scotia Dry. That is merely a joke. Neither of us subscribe to the notion of New Year's resolution. At least I certainly don't. I'm not sure if you do.
Not typically. No, not typically.
But it is New Year's Day. It is January the 1st, and what better to ring in the new year with some very very boozy barrel-aged stouts, which we've been saving. I mean, one of them, the Sea Level ones, they do this once a year. And I was talking with because the Sea Level come to the wine bus year-end review thing, and they always bring these, and it's a very exciting bit because I get it like, I don't know, 5 hours before the general public, but they always come up because they know I do this. So what'd you think of this one? So I get sort of the inside scoop on having a little tiny taste of it. I forget where I was going with that one, but it so they bring it out every year, and the thing they said this is our stout. So we make a stout and then we put it in the barrels. And I said, well, can I have? I know that you make the Port in the Storm Porter is what Sea Level makes, but you also make a stout. And they say, yeah, but we don't sell it as a stout. We just immediately put it in the barrels to be aged. And I went, oh, can I? It's not to say I appreciate it in the casks, but could you make just a little bit more and put it on tap, please? Could we? Just a little?
Yeah. Well, that would be nice, but but at the end of it all, the flip side of that is you get something quite extraordinary, and there's more of it. So they put them all. They dedicate the whole batch then to the barrel rather than doing what you suggest and maybe throwing some of it just aside for stoutish. But you're making your own stouts now, so you don't need all that.
That was the other question. I question that, where we've got our 2 homemade brews, and I thought, do we do that for the first episode back in the first episode of 2025? Is it's our homemade crap. I think we can do that a little bit later.
Nova Scotian ale at the end of the day because it's brewed here, but I don't think the home brewers themselves, the manufacturers of them, are anywhere near this wonderful province, are they? Or you're going to tell me different? I haven't even read the damn thing, Ross. I don't know.
I wouldn't say so. For 2 reasons. One, The home brews that we make, I mean, we make them. They get made, their beers, but the ingredients might not be as fresh. The ingredients are coming from probably even somewhere outside of said province. We have a malting house nearby. We have hops being grown in most of our locations, so everyone's got a lot of local ingredients. So when I make a beer kit and it's purchased in a box from Amazon, who knows? Most of the I think a lot of the grains are from Kentucky or something like that. So I'm making a terribly non-Nova Scotian beer. I know myself. I am using authentic Nova Scotia spring water for mine, but
Yeah,
apart
and of
from that,
course, Sea Level themselves are saying that they do the whole shebang. Do they not? Whole 9 yards
I
is
They are,
sort of
as far as I know, the only estate brewery in the province. Big Spruce might be getting there, but they're organic. But there's a number of
yeah, yeah.
Sea Levels beers that 60% or more, and I think it's up to 80% and something like that, that have all that many ingredients. The percentage of the ingredients in the beer are from right there on their premises.
This is exciting because we both love stouts. We typically really dig a whiskey barrel aged stout.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is, look, no spoiler, we've both tried it. We both really like it. And the other one is from the award winning Boxing Rock. But I mean, what could possibly go wrong this evening?
Well,
Nothing.
no
It's a,
glass
it's a,
shards,
it's a
certainly.
this is as close to a home run as you're going to get, I think, before we even tasted the beer. This is a nailed on a
Uh,
good evening, isn't it?
in the picture for tonight, the preview does say I had pictures of all four of our imperial barrel aged stouts that we do have. Well, I have three of them. You have, or no, I have four of them. You have three of them because I don't think you have one of. So last year's
Ah,
Sea Level barrel aged one, I got a bottle of, and I was going to share it because it's so big and
yeah. Okay.
it seems more of a shareable idea. So maybe we'll do something, and we'll get those on another night, because trying to drink four imperial stouts in one night, we've tried that once before, and while delicious, did not end well. I'm
No, in fact, the Windward one, because it's in this huge 60-gallon bottle, it looks like I'm only going to drink half of it anyway
I
and
think,
save the other half tomorrow night.
yeah, I think I might try to do that depending on how the night goes.
Yeah.
However, the first one, the lesser percentage we do have here from Boxing Rock out of Shelburne, Nova Scotia, is called the Fisticuffs Bière de Garde. It is an 8% imperial stout, and it does say whiskey barrel aged. Now, here is the problem. Because what I can look up is, I'm not sure if it's this year's batch or last year's batch, seems to have been a rum barrel aged one. So I'm not 100% certain what year or batch. I'm seeing some Russian characters down at the bottom of that. So this, and I did try looking for this one because this one is made from whiskey, from Glenora whiskey, aged in a Glenora whiskey barrel. I'll read you the whole thing. Our legendary La Rive du Sud, south. What's Rive? R-I-V-E in French. How's your French? Our legendary Rive du Sud, already a unique and complex beer, has been further enhanced by 15 months in a Glenora whiskey barrel. Before entering this barrel, this beer presented complex caramel and toffee flavors enhanced by a lingering spice that has been further developed by the essence of the whiskey barrel. It is to be sipped and savored. Glenora whiskey out of Toronto, I think, is what my cursory research has shown. And
Good, because I've done no research whatsoever, as is my want. I'm just here for the beer.
now look at this delightful. You gotta
Yeah,
uncage
I'm
the top, and there's a
scared.
cork. This is like a champagne type situation.
Yeah,
Um,
it's thankfully it's not a stout. It should not be over primed, of course, so it's not going to do what champagne bottles do and either take my head off or put a hole in the cork roof.
I hope not.
The
There is
cork,
a bit of pressure though, so it is going to come out. Oh, come on, don't make a
just
mess,
a little bit.
please.
No, being very careful. It shouldn't be bubbly, should it? It's a stout, but there's going to be some little bit of. Oh, oh, is it? Is that it?
This is the
No, that's not
longest
it. It's
cork in
longer.
the
Oh,
world.
I know. It's
who
quite
who has
cool.
made this? Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm almost at the. Aha! Oh, there. That made the right.
Take it. Let me see your cork. Show me your cork. Oh yeah, I've got a little bit to go. Yes. There we go. Hang on. Gosh. Come on, you.
Mine was a very muted little pop, but it does make that very rewarding kind of.
Ah.
That
Ooh.
did you get it? I didn't. I didn't hear your cork any more than you heard my cork.
I loved the way when I uncorked it, just that little smoky thing came out, like I'd
Mine, same thing.
unleashed a genie. A genie just slowly flew out of the bottle.
Smell that sweet, raisiny, toffee. Ooh,
Been there a while, hasn't it?
beer. Oh, this is.
Gosh,
Oh, but wait just a minute. Just a minute.
something.
Are you?
Smells great. Can you smell the whiskey?
You can.
Oh, hello.
You can smell the whiskey, and someone's forgot to put the stout color in my stout.
Ah, but it doesn't say stout, Ross. It just says whiskey strong beer. I don't see it's stout there. Is the
Our
word stout?
legendary Rive du Sud, already a unique and complex beer. Oh
That's
my!
nice.
It's not a stout. Oh my goodness, we have completely done this wrong as per usual. Boxing
That's
Rock,
nice.
Rive du Sud, Bière de Garde.
That to me sounds like almost like a Belgian beer. If it's a spiced, but it's whiskey barrel aged. So for some reason, we just kind of assumed. I didn't read the bottle. It's been in the fridge all that time. I didn't read the bottle.
The
That's
Rive du Sud from Boxing Rock is a Bière de Garde style that originated in the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region of France. The beer style is a strong beer, staying with tradition. This one is a 7.5. Okay, so this is just a strong ale that then got whiskey done. What?
Wow.
I can't believe I just sort of assumed Imperial Stout. Well, here we go. Back to our incompetencies. Speaking of incompetencies, we are going to start off 2025 with a flat-out, full-on incompetent review of not a barrel-aged stout whatsoever. Boxing Rock are probably reading this and going, "What? That's not what that is."
What the hell is it? I mean, the thing is, of course, there's me saying, well, it's a stout, so there won't be any effervescence in it. Well, there is. And here it all comes. And there we go. And here's all the bubbles. And here's all the fizz. And thankfully, I didn't shake it up like a champagne bottle. And therefore, it would have done. Would have hit the roof.
Oh, there we go. We get all the stuff at the bottom.
Why do I not think about myself? I'm kind of disappointed in myself. Bière de Garde. It doesn't say anything about stout. What's wrong with us, Ross? We're two sort of moderately intelligent people, and why did we not figure that out for ourselves?
I'm going to claim that it's been a busy Christmas season, and I'm just trying to kind of get through it and drink our beers and try different things. We get around to reading the description and knowing what's going on. It just means that comparing a whiskey barrel-aged Bière de Garde is probably not going to be much comparable to a whiskey-aged stout. However, I'm looking forward to trying them both.
Do you detect the whiskey notes? Because I certainly do. Something, yeah.
But if it's already a unique, complex, strong beer, it's probably got a lot of those elements to it to begin with. I'd be curious to pick up La Rive du Sud. No, okay, what does La Rive du Sud mean? La Rive du Sud.
Well, obviously something of the south, but what's the Rive? I don't know what that would be. I was thinking La Rêve, the dream of the south, but La Rive, I don't know what that
is. Rive is, if I'm not mistaken, Rivière is river. Rive is like petite rivière.
Do you think? Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah.
Or you just
Rive on.
If only you took French lessons at school in Canada, that would really help you.
Sure, I was totally wrong. The Rive is wait.
What is it then? South Shore.
It's on the left bank. What? Rive. literary French pronunciation.
Oh, it's getting stronger. The nose is getting stronger.
None of this.
While it's sitting there, normally it kind of dissipates, but it's not. It's not at all. It's just getting more broad. I'm looking forward to this. Please let me dive in.
The South
Please.
Shore. It's literally called the South Shore, La Rive du Sud.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there. Ready?
Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
Honey.
We didn't have any
Happy
first
Hogmanay.
first foot, no visitors, but it's fine. Happy New
I'm
Year,
sorry.
all. Happy
It didn't
2020.
quite work out, but anyway, there we go. Cheers.
I will sip this one. It does say it's for sipping, so I am not gulping. I'm giving it sips.
Not actually boozy. It's lighter. It's a little lighter than I thought it would be.
You're right.
But still really quite, you could certainly smell the barrel, and I can taste it too, but it's crisper than I thought it would be. This was 8%. You say 7.5%.
This is the 8% one. Yep.
I was expecting this. Yeah, I was expecting this to be a really rich, and a heavy beer. It's surprisingly light.
It's very easy to drink, which is great because sometimes when we have too many imperial stouts, I end up thinking it's like I've just eaten at a huge, rich
Heavy.
food meal. It's too much. But so I'm really glad for this. Ooh.
When you have your pint of heavy, your Scotch ale that tends to be sort of 7.5%, they taste. Oh yeah, these are weighty products, but that's right. This all kind of is quite crisp. It's quite surprising, and maybe I should have. I took these out of the fridge, Ross, 2 hours ago, because me thinking there it was a stout. I wanted it to be chilled for sure, but I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be neither freezing cold or up to room temperature. So I wanted it to be sort of chilled off. I'm suggesting now, actually, that maybe you're going to hate this. I may want this just a tiny bit colder.
Yeah. You could be right. I'm glad mine isn't ice cold. It would be amazing ice cold, but I'm glad I can get all of the flavors that are coming through in a non-ice cold beer, so I can really taste what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. This is bloody good. I'm enjoying this. It's a shame you can't have any.
I'm getting a little citrusy, not quite citrus, but very, very orange, like a blood orange kind of zing to the front, like a zest.
Because there are probably a little bit of spices in there.
Well, there you go. The lingering spice developed by the essence of the barrel. And so I'm over on the Boxing Rock Instagram post, and they had one a year ago, and they say our legendary Rive du Sud, already unique, complex beer, blah, 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 has been further enhanced by 6 months inside an Ironworks rum barrel. And they've got the exact same bottle here for Fisticuffs.
Yeah.
But instead of being in a Glengarry whiskey barrel, it's now in an Ironworks rum barrel, and they just call it the exact same thing. And I'm sort of, Oh, perfect.
We are. They try it, and she is giving us the nods and the thumbs up. So you think it would be ice cold? Okay, I think it would suffer from being too cold, but I don't think. I think maybe I might just like it a degree or two colder than it is at the moment. It's really.
Where I would appreciate the chill to it is because it's not super rich and over-bodied and heavy. Where it's got a light note to it, so the ice cold wouldn't take anything away.
Again, it's got a note. It's from France. You noted there, but excuse me. It also has the strong Belgian ale. Mouthfeel, strength as well, and something somewhat similar to the taste. Some of them as well. Those lambic beers that the Trappist stuff, the Belgians, because they've got that little bit of spice to them, and I know they tend to be a little sour and a little bitterer, but this is it's not a million miles away from one of those. And that's only a good thing as far as I'm concerned, because I really like those, and I really like this. Tell you what, Boxing Rock, they know what they're doing, don't they?
Well, they
Put in a
keep winning prizes and golds
they do.
and
Yeah.
everything. I forget who won. Oh, there was a Halifax competition just this past Christmas of the best establishments. It might have even been best drinking establishment or something, but I believe the Good Robot location won gold for their spot there on Roby Street. Probably should have
Mm.
checked
I've not
into
been
that
there.
or tried to remember.
Yeah. Passed it so many times. I've never gone in. It looks cool from the when you're driving past the road, and
Mm.
the forecourt. It's got that kind of. It looks like a circuit board or something going on the outside of
It,
inside a robot's head or something. It looks really cool. I just want to go inside, but I haven't done it yet.
it's a bit like me. My I used to explore Halifax quite a bit when I was living a bit closer to it, but now with the way things, the navigation of Halifax is such a pain to me, and the parking
Disruption.
is even worse. That I spend a lot of my time driving past stuff in Halifax, saying, I wish I had the
Yeah.
sort of the wherewithal and the cognitive dissonance to be able to park there and just walk in and say, "Oh yes, hello." I think I'll look around. Those days for me, I think quite gone. I'm very surgical strike. Boom, I'm going to this thing and I'm out.
Right. Get in and out. Yeah. It's I love visiting cities because because here living here in the valley now, I like living here in the valley, I do, but sometimes I think, oh, I want to see a little bit of bright lights again and slightly faster pace of
Mm,
life that we don't have here. We got wonderful. I mean, it's just the way it is here in the valley. It is what it is, and I love it for that reason. But I still like to see a little bit of vibrancy and some lights and some slightly madder people than we already have here in the valley. And you can get it even in a small city like Halifax, and it is. There's no denying it. It is a. I know it's a bloody construction site right now, and it will be for a number of years. It's still a really beautiful old city on the east coast of Canada, and that's why it draws people in the
it
summertime.
it does.
And then in wintertime, it still looks pretty as well. Walking down those steep hills and the harbour and the backdrop and looking, it's really lovely.
It's got its charms, and I do love it, but I love it in that really weird way where you sort of sit around and talk to your friends about all the things that annoy you about it. I said, "Oh, you know what it's like to go. Oh, you know how the streets are this way. And, oh, this one-way street's going this way. Oh, you know how you go down there and it's really gungy, and you get too far to the to the shore, and it smells like fish." But then, if someone from any other city says, "Oh, our city's better than Halifax," I will defend Halifax
And
like mad. Like, no, nothing's as good as Halifax.
literally stand on that hill and fight for it.
Mm,
Stand on Citadel
uh,
Hill, waving your whatever it is,
you
just
don't
waving.
know nothing.
That's right. He said, "Ours, you'll never take it." It's way more character than say. I got to say it than the big cities of Canada. And I'm not been to that many, but it's just bear with me a second here. Way more character than say a Toronto. I know there are fascinating parts of Toronto,
Mhm.
and I know it's multicultural, and the restaurants would be fabulous. But when you're talking about its beauty alone and the slightly older world feel and the architecture and things, there's no comparison.
Mm,
It's a lovely, lovely city to walk around, whereas Toronto, not so much.
yeah.
It's a bit dull.
I have been fortunate enough the last couple of years to spend some time wandering, I guess you would say, but exploring and seeing a little bit of Montreal.
Yep.
I'm a fan.
Oh,
I do enjoy it
yep.
quite a bit.
You walked around, and Quebec City, you spent
Hmm.
some time there as well, which is beautiful. My son is just visiting at the moment. You've met Tristan a couple of times.
Yes, I have.
I think he may have done a podcast with you some couple of years ago, if I'm not very much mistaken. Or certainly been there while we did one in the city. I
Yeah.
think he did come along, and he went to Quebec City as recently as December. That would be last month, of course. And just before Christmas, and he'd never been there before. He said it's absolutely beautiful.
It
And it's
is.
got that gorgeous old French look about it. And by all accounts, Christmas time it never looks better. It's beautiful anyway, and you don't get that in your Toronto,
You just want to
Victorias
poop
or
all over Toronto.
Vancouver.
That's all.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's nasty. Hey, I love visiting city. I would go to Toronto tomorrow for the weekend. It's not the weekend tomorrow. It's I don't know what day it is anymore.
Oh,
It's
right,
that
it's
little
Wednesday.
bit between Christmas and New Year, and I heard it referred to as the other day on a podcast as as the taint of the year, that bit between Christmas and New Year,
Yeah.
which is a pretty nasty image. But yeah, I would love to go and spend another weekend in Toronto, but not for its beauty, just for
No.
the life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean,
Yeah.
there's life in Halifax as well, but I find it's a bit different kind of life. It's that always welcoming, the kitchen door is open kind of life, as opposed to Toronto, which is, ooh, you have to come and watch, there's a show over here and a show over here, where Halifax is a bit all, come on in.
Yeah, and I know you've got it's not a huge, of course, which means you don't have to search very far if you're looking for some genuine entertainment. And if it's bars you want, well, you're in luck, because there's quite a few in downtown Halifax, and you could stumble in and out of a few of those, and they're nice and oldie. I love that. And we've got a theatre district there as well. Oh, great, a theatre, but it's still a district, right? Live music, live shows. We got it all. I'm sounding like the Halifax tourism board right now.
Well,
so come on in.
We'll get Nova Scotia Tourism on here at one point or another. I keep getting chased around by them, but I certainly want to talk to some people. I'm slowly sipping my way down this.
I'm feeling this already, and I'm really glad I've said to myself, I'm only having that half a bottle of the other stuff, because it's
a big bottle.
Yeah. What do you think of this?
The box, I do enjoy it. I do like it, and I do appreciate the fact that it's not overly rich for a strong ale, especially a whiskey cask one, because sometimes it just comes through as a very. But then again, we mostly have the barrel aged stouts, but this is a barrel aged bière de garde, which is obviously a different style that I don't know that we've had just a straight up bière de garde. Maybe.
No, either. It's fabulous. It's so European, which is obvious, because if it's a French, it's not overpowering though. The hit from the whiskey barrel is not overpowering. It's really complemented it well. It's fantastic.
There's a warmth to it, and it reminds me, not flavor wise, but it reminds me of the sensation of drinking mulled wine.
We had a bottle of it today, mulled wine, only this afternoon. Homebrew wine, and we threw some spices in there, the mulled spices. So I can talk very recently, only this afternoon, of that feeling you get from something warming. This is a warming beer. My head. In fact, I'm thinking of taking my sweater off, but I don't want to start discarding items of clothing live on your podcast.
Oh, good. This is the kind of beer that makes you want to strip. That's good to know.
Yeah, I feel warm drinking it. And that's what, you're right, mulled wine does that, and the spices in it. It's very wintry. It's a very wintry, warming beer. This is great. I ain't going to drink this all night, though. So if that crazy person walks around and says, do you want another pint of this? I'll be like, no.
I check the watch, see who I'm with, and see if is anyone driving me home, in which case, yes.
Yeah. It's really wintry, and it's a fabulous beer. Great, isn't it?
If you're a walk from home and you're looking outside and the snow's getting thicker, yes, I will have another pint of that, please. I will stay here
it's a snow pint.
Till the bitter end.
Snow.
I will stay here till closing, and then I will trudge home in the snow, but I will be warmed by 3 of these.
Hold it. Is that what you've got left? You've got all of that left?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I've been sipping.
Oh, right. Well,
it said it's a sipping beer.
I had a finger and a half left. I put it over there because I thought Rebecca's sitting over there, ladies do on New Year's Day, and I thought I'll give her that a couple of fingers of the glass, because if not, I'm going to drink it all to myself, and then I'm going to be feeling. There's no point in keeping that last. We normally I like to keep a couple of fingers of beer at the end, of course, to compare it. But clearly, there's no point
There's not.
on this occasion
And
because they're chalk cheese.
no, it's definitely not about comparing. I'm going to keep that one because then I'm going to slowly go upstairs and I will savor that afterwards because tonight we are
Right.
drinking early. And as I have the
Yeah.
remainder of the evening after that, I am going to take two cask-infused, delicious whiskey beers upstairs, and I will slowly sip them as I snack on some, I don't know, chips or something like that. And I will
How would you mark that, Ross? If you there's nothing. I mean, clearly there's not another beer de garde to compare it against.
No,
But
there's not.
as a wintry beer,
It,
that is so
mm,
friggin'
I'd
yeah.
I'd be happy with like a 9.4, 9.5 because we've had a few
Um,
and they say here's a strong beer and it's a winter warmer and it hasn't been near that good. So I think that's
uh,
my benchmark for how the best of this kind of style should be.
yeah, yeah.
No, I'm happy
I
marking
love.
it very high.
And by the way, did you say you had several of those? Did you have a number of those, or the old ones from last year that were rum aged? Did you buy several of those fisticuffs with this
I
when you bought them?
When I bought them I got two and I believe you have one and I have
Okay.
the other.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
I'm
misunderstood.
I'm
When you emailed me or what? Not emailed. What is this? The 18th century. When
when I
you
faxed you,
messaged me, I thought you said that maybe you'd bought several, and these may have been the last two or something. So you haven't had this one either.
no.
Are they still available?
Ah, and that's
Uh,
what I'm trying to come across because according to this, the last year the rum one is in the was available last year, but the Fisticuffs Imperial Stout. Ah, ah,
ah,
the
I
Fisticuffs
see.
Imperial Stout is currently available
I
in
can see
the
where this is going.
NSLC.
Ah,
Ah, because
that's how.
that's coffee and dark fruit and chocolate. So fisticuffs every year they do a slightly different fisticuffs. This is one from either last year or even the year before.
That explains the confusion. So
S-
fisticuff is not just individual. It it may be their barrel aged version this time around.
Yeah. So they've
Does
done the
that
fisticuffs Bière de Garde for 2 years, and then this year they've done a fisticuffs Imperial Stout, and
ah?
that's what triggered my. I see what's gone wrong.
uh,
All of my mistakes are coming
That
into
explains
fruition.
it. Yeah. Okay, that explains it.
But it
You're
is
not mad.
no. So this
Everyone around you
particular one
is.
you probably can't get anymore right now. But again, the best part is, and again, here's the thing: Bière de Garde is directly French for beer for keeping because it's so
Oh,
strong, and
good.
if it's whiskey aged, and you put it in the cork, and that way it's good for several times frames. I think.
I was about to say, we know through experience that maybe it's not great to keep certain beers for too long.
Yeah,
However, a
I
barrel aged version or a spiced thing or an aging rum or whiskey version of any beer,
mm,
it's likely to get better fermenting in the bottle for maybe a year or two. So in this case,
certainly
it's
feels
not such
that.
a bad thing.
Yeah,
You wouldn't keep a Molson Canadian for 6 years, hoping it's going to age better in
yeah.
the can,
I mean, you
but you
would, but
might do with these.
you'd never
Yeah,
drink it afterwards. It's the easy way there.
no,
The Sea Level Brewing Company up at the Millstone Harvest Brewhouse in Sheffield Mills, Nova Scotia. Uh now, okay. I've just had an Imperial Bière de Garden, so I can't remember if we had this conversation before we started recording or not. They produce a stout and then they take that stout and they do not put it on taps. They do not sell it in any way, shape, or form, and they immediately put it in these casks, these wooden casks, either a beer or whiskey, and then leave them in there for 12 months. So this is last year's stout that they aged all year, and they released this and another one as the Windward Imperial Stout, which is aged in a whiskey cask. Now, here's the thing that I love. Take this as note there, Boxing Rock. If you call a bière de garde in a rum cask a Fisticuffs, and then a bière de garde in a whiskey cask the Fisticuffs, and then an imperial stout also the Fisticuffs, like, think of other words. Call it something else. Because what Sea Level's doing is they've got a different name for the different batch and the different everything. So here's the Windward Imperial Stout, and then the one that they've got in the rum that they age in the rum barrels, they call something else, which eludes me right now. It was the Midnight something.
Midnight Tide. The Midnight Tide. I'm suggesting that referring to that fisticuffs thing, Ross, it directly might just relate to, when you have a strong beer, and that's what people kind of tend to say about when, oh, did you have a few strong beers last night? Do you have some fisticuffs? It's just, it tends to make people a little fighty when you have a strong alcoholic beverage, and that's what I think maybe that's what it's alluding to in this respect. I know that of course they call themselves, they're called boxing rock anyway.
That's probably the theme that I think it is. Where if it's your flagship, you're try this. It's boxing rock and fisticuffs, because that's the two go definitely hand in hand with what they're saying. Because I immediately disagree with your notion that if you are drinking strong ale, you're immediately going to get fighty.
That'll be the Scotsman in you.
I'm supposed to be violent and headbutt everybody who looks at me the wrong way, but I don't. And here is the thing. This actually delayed my my adventures into drinking. I am going to let's read the side of the Sea Level Harvest Brew House thing of something. Aha, here we go. Aged 12 months. The Windward Imperial Stout from Sea Level. A strong, specially brewed imperial stout aged for 12 months in Barreling Tide's Windward whiskey barrel. This particular batch on their Windward whiskey was made using grains grown here on our family farm. So like we were saying with Sea Level, again, was this before or after we started recording, they grow a lot of their ingredients right there on premises, and so they even got to put it in the barrels of the whiskey, which is made from some of the grains that's grown right there at Millstone Harvest Brew House as well. But we will crack this, we will get it pouring, and then I will start telling you how wrong you are that beer causes violence.
I can't unwind this one. I've just got a crappy old bottle opener and no cork to spend about 3 minutes trying to get out of the bottle. This is
miss out on.
This is so new age now.
I'll mention that when next I speak to them. I'll say, what about the corks, please?
I know, but spoiler alert, of course, you and I have both tried this, and I was not disappointed. Let's say that much about it. I love your nails, mate. You've been working on your nails again?
No, these are the same ones as before. They're just slowly peeling off, so don't be too impressed. I just haven't redone them. Rich.
Lighting.
I think this is going to be the rich one. But again, I'm sad because I don't get to try the stout before it gets put in the whiskey barrels. I want to try your stout first, and then I want to see what happens when it's been in the whiskey barrels or the rum barrels or this kind of, this and that.
Yeah, I hear you. I know what I'm getting here, and the smell immediately coming off of that is, oh my God,
very strong, very rich. Oh, that's a very dark fruit, lots of dark fruit, lots of like molasses even. Oh, that is
cherries, like a dark, like the cherries that have been in a fruit cake or a Christmas pudding forever. Some people make Christmas puddings in January and then break them out in December already, and it smells like that. So it's boozy as all hell.
Can you imagine soaking a Christmas pudding in this stuff?
Yeah, I can. I can imagine that totally. Why didn't I do it? Listen, there's half a bottle of it left. I just poured. Did you mention that this is just your
640 mil. So the previous one, the Fisticuffs, was in a 355 ml bottle. So the same as just a regular small, the smaller can of beer. This
Yep.
is effectively 2 of those.
Yeah.
So,
And it's not. It's another. Just add another 1.5% on top of it as well. This is a strong one,
that's a
man.
lot of 9. Yeah, yeah. This is the kind of stuff I think you want to share this with the room, if not a friend. And
You pour this over your Christmas pudding and then light it off the
mm,
fumes that's coming off of this whiskey
honestly,
barrel aged.
yeah,
Yeah.
the fumes smells. I feel like I'm getting drunk off the fumes. I think again we'll be wanting to sip this and not chug. Is
I I I that, I kind of forgot I was supposed to do that with the first one because it was so bloody tasty, and I kept on saying this is really good, and then all of a sudden I realised, oh, there's hardly anything left of it.
now
I'll try and do that with this one.
you did say you need to leave earlier, so we're recording an hour earlier than we
Yeah.
normally would tonight. So I felt the need, especially when you said what'll we drink, and I said why don't we have imperial stouts? Waiting for you to say, oh, I can't do that. The reason I'm going early is because I have to go and read books to the elderly later. So hopefully that's not what the appointment is.
Yeah, I'm going to power through this one, 3 or 4 gulps, and it'll all be gone, and then I'll be on my way. Ross,
To
I'll sip it.
teach
I'll
the
sip
blind to play ice hockey.
It's so, you talked about it doesn't smell. The first one didn't taste boozy because it was lighter
Mm,
and crisper and more refreshing than I would have expected from a 7.5% beer.
hmm
I know what this is, quite the opposite.
Yeah.
This is boozy as hell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Happy New Year. Oh God, it's
Ooh,
so
ooh,
rich.
oh. Oh, it's so rich and yet so sweet on the tongue. I almost tasted a coconut flavor there for just a second. But I know there's no coconut in it, but that sweet, because too much coconut I find is a little bit rich, but the very sweet on the tip of the tongue there
Um,
was reminiscent.
the coconut thing we had from Two Crows. You were talking about the imperial stouts that we
Oh
had
yes,
there
yes, yes, yes,
for
yes, yes.
Ambo number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 3, 4, 5, and 6. I can't remember exactly how they numbered them, but there was one there that was a coconutty thing, and we had fun doing that. But of course, we ended up almost throwing up with the sweetness
Yes,
that they had tried
we
to
felt
throw in.
quite ill, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. It was an experiment, and it is. And I'll tell you what, I'd still do it, just a can of it occasionally. But
I would love all 4
this was
again on 4 separate nights.
separate nights, yeah. But when you, but for some reason, a whiskey. I am not. This is kind of what I was thinking of saying here. That night I tried the Scottish Reserve, from Sea Level, which is their rum aged one, which
Mm.
I don't know if you mentioned it earlier on, and the Imperial Stout. We were up there a month or so ago, and as I was exiting their establishment, there were a couple of people sat in the corner, and they knew you. By the way, I think they were. You are a frequent imbiber after your busing at Sea Level or something. I don't know. Anyway, they knew you, and they knew you'd tried this one as well. And I said, and they said, which one do you prefer? And here's the surprise for me. I said, I love rum. I've been here now 16 years in Nova Scotia, and I've become a rum drink. I'm not a rummy, but if I'm going to have a little tip at the end of the evening, and it's not a beer,
Mm.
and if it's going to be a spirit, I lean towards the rums now. I've never particularly been a big whiskey fan, and a rum to me, it's nice. It's warming, and it mixes well, and I will lean towards having a rum. Therefore, a rum barrel aged drink as opposed to a whiskey barrel aged beer, you would think it would be pretty obvious which one I would lean towards. It ain't the case. The rum one I found a little bit flat. It's distinctive, yes, but it felt kind of deadish. Whereas this Imperial whiskey aged stout is freaking phenomenal. I really love it. And we had a couple of snifters that night, just the little tasters.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, wish I could sit here. Maybe it was snowy. It was perfect. It was mid-December. It was cold, and I thought I would love to stay here and have 3 or 4 more of these, but you can't because obviously you got to drive back. So we just had the one, but it's bloody lovely. It's rich.
It
It's like a
it is very good. It's all the things that we want to be having in this kind of drink.
yeah,
It's very, very
yeah.
good. I
But
I
can
I
you
wish I
say
could
it?
remember what the
Can I
rum
hasten
tastes.
to add? It's when I say something is only 9%. I this is the thing. It's it's only 9%. It tastes stronger. When with the Nanaimo from Propeller, which was 10%, that thing I could have drunk pints of it. This here is warning you. When you're drinking it and you're smelling it, you're aware that it's a strong beer.
Mhm.
To me, the Nanaimo was dangerous
What
because it's
was
so sweet and easy to drink. It would mess you up. This here, it's got caution signs. This has got skull and crossbones on the side saying, "Smell this. It's whiskey all over it, but it's also really easy to drink, but it's telling you it is." And I like that because it's a warning sign and just heed it.
the Nanaimo was 10%?
Yes.
Why don't I remember it being quite? Because I didn't have as much of it as you did. I only had maybe 2 cans over the season, including the one we had on the show. I
We
think.
bought them by caseload
Yep.
and drunk 30 a night. It was
Sucked.
that good. Yeah, we didn't we were in bed for 3 weeks solid over Christmas last year. We never got up. We just ate breakfast, dinner, and supper was Nanaimo beer from. No, we bought. I'll tell you what we did, Ross. When we loved it that much that every time we came to an establishment, a liquor store that was still selling it, we bought like 6 at a time.
Mm.
Am I lying? I'm not exaggerating. If I saw Nanaimo in there was still going, I bought between 4 and 6, and we really loved it, and it was 10%, but it was like when you get like a milkshake, and so or milky like a I don't know, a black Russian or a white Russian, not a black
Mm.
Russian, a white Russian. It's so alcoholic yet so creamy and milky that you don't realize that it's alcoholic.
Yeah.
That's what this was like, but with so much good sweetnessy thing going on that it was like a melted milkshake with some alcohol in it. It was dangerously good, and it was a beer. They were like, "This is not a beer. This is like a liquid gatto that I'm drinking." It was gorgeous. This is telling me by the smell and the booziness of it.
Oh yes.
Careful, boys. Don't be drinking cans and cans of this because you're going to regret it.
You can't chug it even if you tried. Where there are other stronger percentage beers
Yeah.
that you could just go glug 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 glug. That was delicious. All of another, and then you just fall on your face.
Yes.
For
Yes.
example, there was one Ian Smith of Tapestry Beer Bar at 813 Sackville Drive. 833. I'm wrong. He offered me a triple IPA that was a milkshake, like a vanilla milkshake triple IPA from, I think it was
Yeah.
an unfiltered, and that was the most delicious thing I'd had. Definitely that night. Certainly in a very long time. One of my new favorites for sure.
That
But
night.
as I drank that, I sort of sip, sip, sip. Oh, drink. Yeah, that's really good. It's really creamy. Very, very well done. What's the percentage on that? And he says 11. Oh, ah, that's a
Yeah.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's an issue.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Oh dear.
We ought to sell it in thimbles.
So,
Have a thimble of my triple IPA milkshake drink.
well, I would
Yeah.
love. I would love to be able to buy in cans where you say you could sit down and have just a little 4-ounce taster. Sometimes I hate the little tasters because I don't feel I'm getting enough. If I'm trying a red ale and they bring me an ice cold flight and you have you snap back the red ale and it hasn't really gone to temperature just yet, so it's ice cold and you just think, oh well, that was tap water. I just drank some ice cold glacial water and there was no flavor to it whatsoever. And that's it. That's your lot. Your 4 ounces is gone. You think, but
Yeah.
if you get the 4 ounces, I would buy a 4-ounce can of an imperial stout and just sit there. It'd be like a little sherry glass, and in and of it, even Have you had
kind
a
of get
drink?
that.
Yes, I've had 7. Mm,
I kind of get that. I really do.
I'd love
I
that.
don't want.
I
I
feel like we should be
I don't
drinking these out
want.
of shot glasses for how powerful they are.
Well, that's a good idea because thankfully later this month it's the
Ugh,
100 shot challenge. Do
yeah.
you want to do it with your Windward barrel-aged whiskey stout?
I'll tell you what. I'll go and see if they have the amount required, and if they don't have them available anymore, that many bottles, then I'll have to come up with another alternative.
That's funny. I like that idea. When you go to your establishments that do the flights and you want to try, I'll try a 3, a 4, a 6, and a 9 because I
Mm.
like those style of beers. Do you normally lean towards the stronger beers? Because a flight costs a flight. They don't say this beer costs a little bit more than this, unless it's an
Oh,
extraordinary thing like this is. I don't think they charge any more if you're having 4 ounces of a 9% beer as opposed to 4 ounces of a 3.5% or
I don't
whatever
think
they're
so
doing.
either.
You don't think no?
I don't do the alcohol math then. In fact, there's not many places that I do the alcohol math. If you go to Roofhound Brewery out in Kingston, they have a flat deal where if you buy a case of 12 beers, it is $60, regardless of the price of the individual bottle. So, for example, maybe the IPA is 550, or the hazy, one of their session IPAs is like a lower percentage, 4.3 might be a little under $5. But then if you have the Imperial brown ale, it's closer to 7%. So it could be like 580 a bottle, 5. I'm making numbers up entirely, but I'm just giving you that spectrum.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
a case is a case is a case. You fill the
60
case,
bucks.
it's $60, which is $5 a bottle.
Yeah,
And so you save money on the Imperial. So if you're only in it for the alcohol percentage math, then yes, you would do that. But since the Imperial Brown Ale is like my favorite beer there anyway, that's
good,
what I get
pretty
regardless.
good.
So
Yeah.
theoretically, I'm saving, I don't know, $3.50 on a case of Imperial Brown Ale, but they're probably happy to see me walk out with a full case. It's sales. Sales is sales. Whatever. I don't know. But the flight being the same thing, to answer your question, sort of. I lean towards interesting ones. I don't always lean towards, oh, just give me the strongest one you've got, because a flight is a flight is a flight, and you will save money on the alcohol percentage somewhere along the lines of buying a pint of this for $11 as opposed to a pint of this for $9. I avoid it when I'm looking at a flight. I avoid things like pilsners,
Sour.
sours, uh, and yeah, just lagers. I'm like, I'm not gonna have a lager in a taster flight. Get out of here. That's no. I don't even think so. I look for the interesting stuff, and if nothing else, I will say, oh, fine, just toss the red ale in there as well, because maybe that one is going to be acceptable.
I hate for dittoing you on that. Now you said all that. That's pretty much what I do
Now,
as well. I'm going to steer clear of us. I'm going to steer clear of what I consider personally to be lighter, less interesting fare. And I'll pour the sours down the sink and just forget about them altogether. But if there's a stout or two, I will obviously be drawn toward them.
oh, you gotta try, yeah.
Of course, the older we get now, Ross, the older we get, we're now coming into IPA territory. And if there is an interesting, someone says there's an interesting IPA there,
Hmm.
I'm now at this point, at this juncture, I'm probably going to give the IPA a go as well. Whereas a year or two ago, I'd have been steering that right out of the equation. I probably would have been going for a Pilsner or a lager rather than IPA. But
Oh.
now I'm gonna give
It,
gonna give each brewery, of course, the kudos that they deserve. They're producing their own beers, and so therefore we should be giving them our attention.
yeah.
And I'm gonna give IPAs more attention now than I have in the past. I might even let one sacrifice a darker ale in favor of what I think might be a discovery for me in the IPA realm.
In a flight, you mean? Yeah.
In a flight, absolutely. Yeah.
The only time that I
Even in
do
flight.
the ABV math is when I'm in a
Good.
place that is not a tap room or brewery itself. When you're just in Steve's restaurant and you sit down and they say, "Hey, we've got some beers on tap." I said, "Ah, yum. Do you have any craft beers available?" "Yeah, here's our craft beer selection," and it's a couple of propellers, Garrison's Hoppy Buoy, and that's about it. Not much at all. So when there's hardly anything, that's when I start to say, okay, well, if you order a Bud Light, first of all, you should have your beer drinking card taken away from you. But the percentage in that is what, like 3? It could be even.
It's a 4.
Is
For
it that
some
high?
reason, I think all generic light beers are 4s rather than 5%.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I believe that's pretty much the case.
But I
across
look at
the board.
I look at the list that they provide me, and I try to find, even if I know it's an IPA that I don't like the taste of, if I don't see anything interesting, I will find the strongest thing possible, just so I can
Yeah,
have that and
yeah.
and get some kind of alcohol percentage, and then not worry about it. And that way, where if you drink one light beer, you think, ugh, I need 6 light beers in order to sort of be, yes, I'm having a good time now. Whereas if you find a really strong, so oh yeah, and we've got this 7.7 IPA from somewhere, bring it over, bring that over immediately, and I will try that. Now, that goes back to my conversation about the fisticuffs thing, where once if you've had too much of this beer, that means that you're going to start being fighty and fisticuffsy. That mentality actually stopped me from trying to have alcohol for a very long time. I was probably 20, 21 before I started experimenting and trying to drink beer or drink alcohol of any kind, because I thought, and I had been brought up with, well, as soon as you've had one, when you've had, there was that thing, one too many, and then there's fights happening, and this chair's being thrown across the saloon, and Biff, no, don't talk to me. Pff, he looked at me funny. He winked at the wrong, and it was that confrontational, and I just assumed that's what alcohol did. It made you confrontational and angry. But what I learned, it didn't take that long, but and over all the years of everything, what alcohol actually does is it lowers your walls, takes down your inhibitions, and you become more so your core personality. You become who you are without all your walls of fear. Oh, I better not do that. Oh, I better not do that. Oh, I better not do that. So
it amplifies your own character. You mean,
yes,
as rather than making it worse, it actually says this is the real you.
mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Rather than the wall, or what? Rather than this persona that you try to portray.
So the thing is, when you and I used to go pubbing on the streets of Wolfville, did we start random fights with A, each other, or B, random strangers? No, we did not do that. We got silly and ridiculous, and we laughed, and we made musical references, and we just started doing silly, ridiculous, harmless shenanigans. Seems to be my core personality, or just babble and talk. And I mean, it's the reason we do this is because I know that we're going to be able to talk once we've had an beer. And
it was that time we knifed that guy, though.
Oh, well, he deserved it. He had it coming.
He did. Yes, he did. In honesty, he did.
So I met people when I was in university, and we would schedule things and organize things throughout the residence that I was staying in my first year or two. And they would say, "Oh, here's everyone coming on the pub crawl. Here we go. We're going to get on the bus and we're going to go to all the bars and 5 bars in Halifax. And then we'll get on the bus and we'll drive right back. It'll be a good time." And they were pretty fun. And I asked a guy that I knew. He was just living near me in my group somehow. But I said, "Hey, are you going on the pub crawl?" He says, "Oh no, I don't go on those anymore. I've gone on 2 and I've learned." And these are his words. He said, "I'm a mean drunk."
Okay.
And I went to myself,
mean drunk.
Huh. I said, well, I mean, fair enough. That's you clarity. You've got some sort of self-awareness there. That's fine. And it stuck around in my brain for the longest time because what I eventually learned was what he was telling me, whether he understood this or not about his own self, was
Is
once
mean.
I take in a chemical that removes my self-control and inhibitions, I
Mhm.
basically want to just thump everybody.
There are people though that actually compartmentalize the effects that different alcohols have on them.
I've
Um,
heard about that.
yeah, there are there are personnel, and I've heard them myself, people I know very well, that have said they won't do hard liquor anymore because it makes them mean. Therefore, they just do a lower percentage alcohol. Now, I don't know whether or not that means that they need to drink way more of that lower percent alcohol to reach the level necessary to become really nasty, or they're just recognizing that there are certain things. A 40% whiskey at a certain level will make them into not very nice people. However, they can drink quite pleasantly a couple of glasses of wine and not become assholes. So I do like that. But I can see you're looking to dive in there, Ross. Your face is one of the. I have noticed though that I've only ever wanted. That's the thing I've only ever noticed about me. I get to a level where I think, oh my goodness, I've had too much, and then I will. When I'm done all the giggling and maybe I've had too much and I might have even vomited, whatever. Hopefully, I haven't got to that stage. I kind of tend to crawl into a corner, laugh a lot, and then fall asleep. And
Hmm.
in the past, that's the level I always got to. And in the past, I would wake up and think, I'm hungover now. I'm never going to do this again, without ever having any fights. In the meantime, thankfully now I've gotten to the point where I don't even get hungover anymore when I've had too much. And I don't know whether that's the natural law of the universe saying, Ian, you've had so many hangovers, teaching you not to get too drunk. I'm going to cut you some slack now in your later years and say, you've come through this. Good on you. Enjoy your beer now. Enjoy it. You've earned this badge. You don't get hungover anymore because you now realize that where your limit is, you don't have to get crazy. But well done for not fighting anybody or or embarrassing
So
yourself on too big a
you're being
stage.
rewarded by your own
I mean,
immune system.
yes,
I see it as you're accepting the fact that your immune system is effectively a bad parent at this point, saying, "Well, I can't control you, so I'm just gonna give up."
yeah, yeah. You don't. You. I've given you enough lessons. You
If you
haven't
haven't if
come.
you haven't learned
You,
it,
if you haven't learned after your 347th hangover, you're never going
I'm gonna
to. So
stop
just
trying to teach you.
yeah, just go on your own. Go into your old age, wibbling in the corner. Have your half a stout on a Christmas or a New Year's Eve, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
well, fair.
I am.
That's
Yeah.
good. I think so.
I think I started that question with when you're looking at a flight, what do you lean towards? I've
I
always leaned in towards the stouts and the what I consider to be the richer, more flavoursome beers. I'm perfectly now happy with going for what I would traditionally have called lighter fare. And that might have been
really.
IPAs, Ross. Yeah, I know. Having done this thing with you now for 3 or 4 years, I have learned a great deal, and the IPAs are need to be taken seriously. They are stronger than your average pilsners and lagers, and they tend to be a little more flavoursome. And I will go for them more now than I used to.
On a flight, I will basically just go for something that seems to have a lot of personality to it. Something
Yeah,
that sounds super interesting, which is why I veered away from a lager or a pilsner because those are
yeah,
very samey styles that don't differ all that much, unless you get some like if something says, "Oh, this is our jalapeno lager," I will say, "Put it
yeah,
in, bring it on."
absolutely.
And if
Yeah,
someone has a sour and it's called the salt and pepper or the peanut butter and jelly sour, I will say I will try that, please. That sound if
yeah.
it sounds interesting, different. If it sounds like it's got a very obvious flavor that is going to come across immediately, and honestly, I've now gotten a little bit better at recognizing when something has a very vague name to it. Like here comes our Rougy Red. I think, or the Dark Knight Stout. I said, well, what flavor is that? They said, oh, it's just our generic stout. Nope, moving on.
Yeah.
I want the crazy. I want the novelty. I want the nutball stuff. And it's the only difficult part about having an overactive, super creative imagination while doing this. I want the bonkers stuff. I don't want to just have. I think hell for me must be being a beer judge at a lager festival, and you just try everyone's lagers over and over again, and you try to find something. Oh, yeah, this one's a little bit more. This is a little bit more like this, a little bit more like that. Where the differences between them are so very subtle. But if once you, I mean, we've learned, you get into IPA country, and someone says, "Well, this is a West Coast IPA, and that's an East Coast IPA," and they are night and day in flavor. They're just all over the place, and I like that. It's fun. It's whimsical. It gives you a lot more to look forward to and expect in your old tasty buds.
Which probably explains why in the last 3 or 4 nights I've had those 2 pine beers that you tried with last Christmas. Yes. The Tannenbaum was quite pleasant.
It was muted.
It was. I wonder if after doing what they did when we tried, was it 2 years ago, Ross?
When
we kind of laughed at it a little bit as being a novelty beer that it's just saying, it's Christmas tree, it's Christmas, whatever, just have a go with it. If they've refined it, it may be off of customers. We certainly know that master brewers are influenced by their customers' comments way more than your big boys are. They're like, no, this is our beer. If you don't like it, fuck off. Anyway, microbrewers are far more in tune to listen and listen to their customers and saying, hey, maybe if it's a little blah blah blah, it's a little bit blah blah blah, and therefore they can, because they're doing smaller batches, bring it into line with maybe and just experiment a little bit more. I preferred that one that I tried 3 or 4 nights ago than I did the first time we tried it. And I remember Brittany walking down the stairs and saying to you, "Oh, it tastes like Christmas tree."
She was not having it.
That's exactly what it tastes like. And you know what? It says it on the can. This is what it's going to taste like. And we thought, why would you want a beer to taste like pine trees? But it did what it said on the can, this time in a more subtle way, and it tasted a far nicer experience. And then I tried the other one last night, the blueberry fir tree experience. Please remind me who it was. It was only last night I tried it.
Salt Box's blueberry. What was it called? The Blueberry Express? No, it was. Oh,
it was subtle. I'm sure there can't be that. I mean, you'll
find
it very easy.
The blueberry balsam fir or something like that.
Blueberry balsam. Okay, it was really quite nice. And I know I'm not going to drink it through the year.
No,
because why would you? But it made something end of year, a different, just a kind of curio, and I really rather enjoyed it.
They both took the novelty and made it palatable, whereas I think the first year we tried it, it was novelty.
It was like like toilet cleaner.
Yeah, I don't care if this is drinkable or not. It's novelty. And then someone said, "What if we just brought it down to about
dial it down?" Yeah, and they dialed it down, whatever they did, but it made it actually pretty damn pretty nice.
Where you're saying this is a rather good beer, and what an interesting that literally tastes like a balsam
There
fir
was
tree.
no doubt.
Christmas is in the air. I like it.
Yeah, there was no doubt there was pine there, but
Mm.
it was way more subtle and palatable, and I really rather enjoyed it. On the subject of enjoying,
Yes.
this is if it's not 10 out of 10, I don't know. It's
See,
it's
I do know what is because I know I like the rum one a little bit better than this. So this is a 9-1.
You like the rum one more than you like the
I
wheat
did
ale.
because with this
Wow.
one, and I don't remember if I mentioned this before we started, but this one does taste like it's a it's a stout with whiskey in it, whereas I found the rum one was this is a rum infused flavorful melange going on, and it's that mix, it's that balance where this I feel it's not quite as smooth a balance because I find that the whiskey is more obvious than the rum is in the rum cask one.
I think, I mean, we haven't even looked at the Scotch ale, the Scottish Reserve Midnight Tide. So I don't want to. I don't even want to cast any aspersions. Is that what you say about it? I found it a bit flat. There's not much. There's nothing going on in it, and I found that this one is so smooth. There's a perfect amount of what do you call it? It's primed perfectly. It's so rich, and it's absolutely perfect. I love it.
Well,
I really, really like it.
excellent.
What was the yeah? If we gave Bad Apple Brewery's Russian Imperial Stout 11 out of 10,
Hmm.
this gets a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
At least. For me personally, it's absolutely wonderful. And I'm keeping the other one for maybe next weekend. Sorry, not the other one. I mean the other 2/3 of the bottle because it's that
Oh
strong.
yeah, I will need to. I
Even
mean, this is.
even like even that sort of third of a, I'm feeling it.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's wonderful stuff. Love it. Cheers, mate. You still got any left?
I loads so much, but I'm trying to not absolutely destroy myself before going back to work after Christmas vacation tomorrow morning.
Are you in tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Work tomorrow.
Back at it. Back at it
Uh,
tomorrow.
I've got one more day. I've got tomorrow, and then I'm back at it for the weekend.
Yeah.
12 hours of starting. I'm so glad I've got one more day because I do feel this. Fisticuffs is a 9.5, and Windward is 9.9 out of 10.
Okay.
There you go. Can't get much better than that, can
I
you?
mean, they're both very good, but I feel like a whiskey drinker would certainly really enjoy this Windward one out of Sea Level,
Boy,
perhaps more so than myself. But I think I found it still slightly a little bit too rich, and I don't really like the super rich flavored ones. But that's me.
I do. Happy New Year, mate. I'm
Happy
out of here.
Happy New
Bye.
Year indeed. I forgot to ask you what happened on the holidays, but we'll get to that in our own time. Ian and I are back here. Ian is usually here. I am back here every week. Wednesday nights, usually 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. If you're just tuning in, you missed it. So if you're trying to watch us live this week, we're an hour late. But you can catch us every Wednesday, 8 p.m. on our YouTube page, youtube.com/drinknsdry. Oh my God, is that it? Yeah, that's it. Or you can find us on podcasty places at Drink Nova Scotia Dry, Drink NS Dry, or you can go straight to the source at drinkns.unsupervised.beer. I think that's everything. Yeah. So join us again